The year is 1793. A clockmaker in Paris is building a clock with two faces. One dial shows the time you know, 12 hours 60 minutes. The other shows 10. 10 hours in a day, 100 minutes in an hour, 100 seconds in a minute. This isn't a novelty piece, it's the law. Revolutionary France has decided that time itself is irrational, and it is rebuilding the clock from scratch. The same government is rolling out two other new inventions, the meter and the kilogram. These two will conquer the planet. Nearly every country on Earth will one day measure distance and weight the French way. Decimal time, cleaner, simpler, easier, will die within 18 months. You're probably still wearing the strange old numbers it tried to replace on your wrist right now. 24 hours, 60 minutes, 60 seconds. This is the story of where those numbers really came from. The story begins 4,000 years ago inside a coffin. The Romans got their hours from the Greeks. The Greeks got theirs from Egypt. Around 2100 BC, Egyptian craftsmen began painting star charts inside coffin lids. Archaeologists call them diagonal star tables. These are the oldest star clocks ever found. They track 36 small constellations called decans that rise one after another over the eastern horizon through the night. A new decan appears roughly every 40 minutes. On a midsummer night in Egypt, around 12 of them rise between dusk and dawn. 12 decans, 12 stages of darkness, 12 hours of the night. That's the origin. The night has 12 hours because that's how many of those particular decans a priest could count before sunrise. 12 of those decans in a summer night is just geometry, a lucky accident of Egypt's sky. It stuck because people already counted in 12s. Hold up one hand and look at your fingers. Skip the thumb, and each finger has 3 segments, 12 in all. Touch them with your thumb one by one and you can count to 12 on a single hand. Merchants across the ancient Near East counted exactly this way. When Egyptians later divided the daylight, 12 was the natural choice. Now for the part your modern brain will struggle with. An Egyptian hour wasn't a fixed length of time. It was a fraction, 1/12 of a night's darkness or 1/12 of a day's light. Daylight changes with the seasons, which means the hours stretched and shrank with it like rubber bands. Rome, 2,000 years later, still ran on the same system. A summer daylight hour in the city lasted about 75 of our minutes. A winter one lasted about 44. The same hour, nearly twice as long in June as in December. Nobody complained. Why would they? If you live by farming and sunlight, an hour that tracks the sun is more useful than one that ignores it. The first hour of the day simply began at sunrise, whenever sunrise happened to be. For roughly 3,000 years, an hour was a slice of sunlight, not a length of time. More than 100 generations lived and died without ever feeling a fixed, equal hour. However, for one group of people the elastic hour was useless: astronomers. You can't chart a moving sky with a unit that changes length every day. Around 150 BC, the Greek astronomer Hipparchus proposed a fix. Give every day and night together 24 equal hours, equinoctial hours, the length an hour naturally is at the equinox. To slice these hours smaller, Greek astronomers borrowed math from a far older civilization, Babylon. The Babylonians counted in base 60. One theory says the habit came from the same finger trick: 12 knuckle segments on one hand, 5 fingers on the other. 12 times 5 is 60. Base 60 also has a quiet superpower. It splits cleanly by 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 3 centuries later, the Greek astronomer Claudius Ptolemy took Hipparchus's equal hour and cut it, the Babylonian way, into 60 small parts, and each of those into 60 smaller ones, the minute and the second. They were precise, they were elegant, and for about 1,500 years nobody used them. Equal hours lived on paper, in astronomers' tables, while the rest of the world kept stretching time with the sun. What finally dragged those units off the page wasn't better science. It was a machine that couldn't lie. In the late 1200s, European craftsmen built the first mechanical clocks. falling weight that a gear escapement checks and releases tick by tick at a fixed rate. Gears can't stretch. A machine like that cannot tick a 75-minute hour in June and a 44-minute one in December. It can only count equal beats. No one argued the old hour away. The machine just couldn't tick it. When clock towers rose over European towns through the 1300s, they broadcast the astronomers' equal hour to everyone in earshot. Within a few generations, work, church bells and city gates all ran on it. An Egyptian star ritual and a Babylonian counting trick had been welded together and cast in iron. Which brings us back to that Paris workshop. By 1793, France's revolutionaries had seen the system for what it was, a pile of ancient accidents. They were rebuilding everything on reason. A new calendar, new weights, new measure, all in base 10. Time would be next. On October the 5th, 1793, France made decimal time the law. 10 hours in a day, 100 minutes in an hour, 100 seconds in a minute. Midnight was now 10 o'clock, noon was 5. Clockmakers built the two-faced clock so people could learn to translate. On paper, the new time was better in every way. Easier to calculate, easier to teach, consistent with every other measure in the French Republic. The public simply refused. Every clock and watch already in France spoke the old time. Every neighbour, market, tide table and church bell ran on 24 hours. A perfect system nobody shares is worse than a strange one everybody shares. In April 1795, 18 months in, the government quietly gave up. The meter went on to conquer the world. The 10-hour day never escaped Paris. That's the real answer to why your day has 24 hours. Not astronomy, not design, agreement. 4,000 years of it. In a museum in Paris, one of those two-faced clocks still survives. Its rational dial is a curiosity, a road not taken. The other dial, the one carrying a Bronze Age star ritual and a trick for counting on your knuckles, still agrees with your phone to the second. A clock was never really a measure of nature. It is an agreement between people, and at 4,000 years old, it may be the oldest one humans still preserve every single day.